I'll run a little 20-acre family farm, not one of these big plantations that we got around the state, but with 3 generations of my family. And I was frustrated in a fundamental way last cycle 2 years ago. Good to see you, Don. Thanks for coming out. That I went to vote for Congress there, and there were 2 Republicans running against each other to be a congressman. And so I basically didn't have anybody to vote for. So this time came around, and we got that little 3-day qualifying period where you have to go in person. And so I waited around on the 17th, and then the 18th, then the 19th, and nobody was in there yet. So I got my 95 Dodge Ram that I've been driving around the whole state here, and went up to Baton Rouge and threw my hat in the ring there. That being said, I am a lifelong student of politics there and studied political science at Louisiana State University. And after that, went and started a vegetable business, and that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, just growing and selling vegetables. And I won't tell you too much about that. I ain't here to advertise my vegetable business or anything, but just give everybody what's fresh each week. And we live simple off the land like that. I think the last time I was here, I said I had 2 kids, but we just had a 3rd kid since I was here last time there. So there you go, adding to the family. But little Jessee Carlton Fleenor was born 4 weeks ago, and so we got a little baby there. And what I like to tell people is, it wasn't necessarily the most advantageous time to have a baby there during my first run for political office, but I'm glad that he came when he did, because it's reminded me while I'm doing this, and got me thinking about family. And it just seems like my whole adult life, the last 20 years or so, we kind of been tearing at each other in this country, and things just been drifting further and further towards the edges, right? And there's no trust anymore between what has become 2 sides of a coin there. And so what I'd like to do as your congressman, if elected, is to start to cultivate that sense of being one American family, one American community, right? Even as we all come from different places. And so it's got me thinking, what do you do in a family? What are your priorities in a family? So number 1 has to make sure everybody's got enough food to eat, right? My main opponent, the Republican, I'm loath to say his name, so I ain't gonna speak it aloud. But his favorite idea is this whole food stamp work requirement thing, where basically, if you lose your job, we're gonna take your food away. And that ain't no way to treat people in the family, all right? In the richest country in the world, we gotta make sure that there's a certain bar that nobody falls below. And that includes having enough food to eat, all right? The other big thing with that is medicine, basically healthcare, right? There are too many people going bankrupt in this country because they get sick and can't afford the medicine, right? Can't afford to get fixed right. So in the richest country in the world, we need to figure out, just like every other industrialized country, how to make it to where everybody in this society, when they get sick, they go to the doctor, they get fixed and get sent home, end of story. In my opinion, health insurance should not even be a concept. There should be health care, it should be a right, and it should be guaranteed. Period. Just like everywhere else, all right? Every other rich country like us. So those couple of things would go a long way towards restoring some social cohesion, some trust, right? Whether you identify as traditional or progressive, liberal or conservative, when you're walking down the street, you know that this society that we're all living in takes care of its own, right? Takes care of the people that are their neighbors and their friends, right? And so those couple of things we really need to get going on. A third thing that's really close to my heart is criminal justice reform, right? Especially in this state, we lock up way too many of our brothers and sisters for what are essentially nonviolent drug crimes, all right? We need to figure out a better way to deal with those cases. Certainly, put them in their place and make sure they get back on the right track, but you don't lock them up and throw away the key, right? It's not only the money that we're wasting on that, but every time you lock up somebody for a nonviolent drug crime, you're splitting up a family, right? You're breaking up a community. And those kids are growing up without mamas and daddies, and we should have figured out, at least by this year in America, that splitting up families is not the American way of doing things, all right? So those are a few of the things that are real close to my heart. I'd be happy to answer any questions y'all have, but the main thing I say to everybody around the state, and I got 24 parishes in this district, so it's a good hustle, but I've been in every little part of the community I can get into. And I'm gonna continue to do that for the next 5 weeks until November 6th. But you know, the thing I say every time when people say, all right, just give it to me in one sentence, what is it that you about? We gotta start treating each other better in this country, all right? Number one thing, we gotta start doing better by each other in this country, all right? Things have gotten too ugly. Everybody knows that we're heading in the wrong direction. We got to start becoming that American community again, that American family. And when we have disagreements, always in the background, we gotta keep that spirit of kindness and compassion, right? And empathy for each other, even as we have our differences. So that's my whole bit right there. I'm Jessee Carlton Fleenor, only Democrat on the ballot, number 32 on November 6th. And I appreciate y'all consider me for your vote. I know this is a friendly crowd right here, but y'all gotta spread the word, all right? It's gonna take every single one of us.